It was terrifying because it's not what you want to have happen on any flight that you're on.
Now on KGW News at noon, it's been nearly 1 full year since the Alaska Airlines door plug blowout over Portland. Details on a new report outlining the safety changes Boeing says it's making. Plus, 2 major healthcare providers in Oregon with insurance contracts in limbo. How it could affect patients. And later.
3 in that short a period of time absolutely raised our eyebrows.
Police are making a Northeast Portland hotel their top priority after a string of shootings, with the latest being just this week.
Therefore, the Honorable Mike Johnson of the state of Louisiana, having received a majority of the votes cast, is duly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 119th Congress.
After just a single round of voting, Representative Mike Johnson of Louisiana will keep his position as the Speaker of the House. Thank you for joining us here on the News at Noon. I'm China Green. Lawmakers in the 119th Congress are being sworn into office today, and the House convened at around 9 this morning, our time, to cast votes for who gets to be Speaker. So we're going to take a live look at the House floor right now. Current House Speaker Mike Johnson won the first round of votes after 2 lawmakers changed their votes. He faced Democratic leaders Hakeem Jeffries. The final tally was 218 for Johnson, 215 for Jeffries, and 1 vote for Tom Emmer of Minnesota.
The negligence by Boeing is so clear-cut.
It has been nearly 1 year since an Alaska airline door plug fell out of a plane mid-flight over Portland. Now Boeing is sharing new details about what it's done to improve its 737 MAX airplane. The blowout incident exposed serious cost-cutting issues at Boeing, but now the company says that it has made strides to ensure that safety and quality. Bridget Chavez with our sister station Seattle got early access to the report before the release this morning.
Yes, we are emergency. We are depressurized.
It was an incident that shook the aviation world and left many travelers rattled.
Some are flying reluctantly, some are flying but using all the information we now have available on a computer to avoid a Boeing aircraft.
Last year on January 5th, a door plug came off Alaska Airlines Flight 1282, leaving a gaping hole in the side of the plane.
It's so sudden and unexpected, and you feel comfortable getting onto the aircraft, and then something like this happens can really shake you.
The 737 MAX 9, which is assembled at Boeing's Renton factory, was flying from Portland, Oregon to Ontario, California. The NTSB says 4 bolts were missing that should have held the door plug in place. As a result, the FAA increased its oversight of Boeing and grounded all MAX 9 aircraft for nearly 3 weeks. Production of the 737 is still limited to 38 per month.
The negligence by Boeing is so clear-cut.
Several passengers were injured and dozens have filed lawsuits against Boeing, Alaska Airlines, and Spirit AeroSystems. Since then, Boeing says it's taken steps to ensure something like this doesn't happen again. Boeing provided early access to King 5 to the progress report detailing the changes it's made, which include elevating safety and quality culture, investing in workforce training, simplifying processes and plans, and working to eliminate defects in the 737 fuselage.
I've represented dozens of victim families in the 2 MAX 8 crashes, and after those crashes, we heard many of these same things. Boeing vowed to get their act together. That did not happen.
Attorneys representing dozens of passengers say the progress report is a start, but their clients want to see tangible changes.
They almost immediately paid Alaska $160 million for lost profit and hasn't reached out to our clients at all and continues to deny liability. It seems the primary duty should be owed to the people whose lives are at stake.
Again, that was Bridget Chavez reporting. The attorneys you just heard from say that they are still waiting on the final report from the NTSB. They expect that to be released in the coming months. Taking a quick break from headlines this afternoon to check out on the weather. It is looking very Pacific Northwesty, as I like to say. This is our Rose City Skycam. But Rod, you're saying that the rain will be letting up a little bit.
Yeah, it's okay, China, that you almost combined the word wet with weather. I mean,
that's exactly
yes.
what I was doing. Yes, yes.
We do have drying taking place. Remember, today is the day where the cold front came through at about 11 o'clock this morning, or even 10:30 in parts of the valley. We have drying offshore, still a shower threat. Here's a look at the closer radar. You see the back edge of the rain is just about ready to push off east of I-5, but here are the scattered showers back along the coast. Where we are seeing the clouds thin out somewhat, you can see a little baby blue right there from the camera at Gearhart by the Sea Resort. There's the bottom of Tillamookad, and down in Newport, it's even clearer. There you see some nice blue. It's breezy, 52 degrees, south-southwest winds at 18 miles per hour. So if we're going to get some sun breaks here in the valley, they will come in from the west. So this is looking off to the west from the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club in Lowell, where in fact still some rain showers are being reported. We will need some sun if we're going to get up to 50, but generally speaking, the afternoon gets drier and drier with the pattern going increasingly into a scattered shower mode, 46 at 8 o'clock. Cascade passes are still wet. We'll look at travel conditions, including the gorge, where Hood River had some snow on the ground this morning, and in fact still does. All of that coming up in your complete weekend forecast.
Thank you, Ron. There is another dispute between an Oregon healthcare provider and major insurance provider. We learned this morning that as of January 1st, Salem Health is no longer in network for Regents members. Both sides have been publicly posting messages about the dispute for a few months now, unable to agree on the amount Regents should pay Salem Health. Regents says they're disappointed and say that Salem Health has refused to back down from a steep price jump. Salem Health says Regents has refused to agree to, quote, fair market terms, comparing their contract to contracts with other insurance providers. Meanwhile, thousands of Oregonians will now have to find health care elsewhere or pay more for services after insurance giant Etna and Providence couldn't agree to a new contract. Both Etna and Providence are pointing the finger at each other for why a deal hasn't been reached. Etna says Providence is asking for a price that is above market rate, while Providence says the insurance company hasn't stepped up to share the increased cost for health care. We spoke to a man who says his daughter has had regular chemotherapy treatments for the past 13 months to treat stomach cancer, but her upcoming appointments and medications had all been canceled on Providence's online patient portal.
To have our daughter at the end of this string being manipulated and pulled in such a way that she can't get her treatments is tearing us down.
Neither Etna or Providence were able to provide a timeline on if a deal could be reached and coverage reinstated. And we are just a few days away from thousands of healthcare workers at Providence hospitals going on strike. If doctors and nurses walk out on January 10th, it would mark the first doctors' strike in state history. The Oregon Nurses Association union claims Providence has ignored workers' recent calls to return to negotiations. Hospital officials, meantime, say that they haven't been at the bargaining table because they were recruiting replacement nurses. Though they say they have enough nurses to fulfill their needs during a strike, they do not have replacements for doctors. Providence is now asking a federal mediator to step in and reopen negotiations. After months of searching, Portland police have arrested a high-profile suspected graffiti vandal. Officers arrested 40-year-old James Fishell at a home yesterday morning on multiple counts of criminal mischief. This is video from a documentary where he appeared with his face covered last year, but that is when investigators got a good look at all of the evidence against him. Then in June, authorities searched his home and they say, take a look at this, they seized more than $10,000 worth of spray paint. A Northeast Portland hotel has been the site of 3 deadly shootings in less than 8 weeks, with the latest on New Year's Eve. The hotel is near the intersection of Northeast Sandy and 82nd Avenue. Alma McCarty has more as police are making the area their top priority for enforcement.
On the last day of 2024, Portland police officers surrounded the parking lot at the Quality Inn, responding to yet another deadly shooting here.
There's something terrible going on at that location, and I don't know what actually is happening and who is responsible and who is allowing it.
Less than a month ago, Andrea Given's youngest brother, Benjamin Walker, was shot and killed in this same spot. Her family misses him dearly.
Ben was so funny and so smart, so engaging. He's super handsome, so he was always, working that angle a little bit. we just love Ben sincerely.
Portland police say there haven't been any arrests in either case, nor in the earliest case, a deadly shooting back on November 20th.
3 in that short a period of time absolutely raised our eyebrows, and we know it has raised a lot of concerns in our community.
Sergeant Kevin Allen explains there's no indication any of the homicides are related, but they have prompted officers to take action.
The North Precinct commander told me today that his neighborhood response team is not only well aware of the problems at the hotel, but it is their top priority right now as far as enforcement goes.
Another possible course of action to deal with the criminal activity, listing this as a chronic nuisance property.
There is a city ordinance that allows us to elicit sanctions against an owner of a chronic nuisance property where repeated law-breaking activity has happened. And
officers say there's no overnight fix, but they are dedicated to making a change with the help of neighbors.
We know we can't do this ourselves, and engaging with the community will always yield a better result.
Givens tells me she hopes investigators follow through on each of these deadly cases.
One thing that, concerns our family and probably the families of the other victims in this case, in these cases, is, will the police take it seriously? Will they do their best to find the people responsible for this?
Alma McCarty, KGW News.